Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I am so excited to be back here with you, clearing out my phone and looking at all the stuff that you guys sent me. And I found a nice peach kind of subtle gel for my light over here. So you might notice that even though it's a gloomy day and I don't have much natural light, I have figured out the lighting situation. So I will become a professional or at least adequate YouTuber before long. Also, I've got one of these things in my hair. Look, TikTok is not wrong about everything. This is so nice. Takes way less time. So I forgot. Oh, let's run the disclaimer. Honey, I'm a perfect 10. Whoa, whoa. And if I say it enough, it gets ingrained in my head, and I start to. Okay, so I have a couple of things that I want to hit on in the intro of today's video. First of all, if you've never seen me before, if this is your first time on my channel, hi, I'm Bethany. I'm an opera singer and I was in Beachbody from 2014 to 2021. 7 years, y'all. That's a long time. I was committed and started deconstructing cult deprogramming in the fall of 2021, and now I call out a lot of the manipulation tactics and abuses that go on in MLMs and point out all the things that you guys should look out for. So that being said, I wanted to say a couple of things before we get into today's content that we're reacting to, just in general about the state of MLM. Obviously, in my last video, I got a little ranty. Yes, the world is pretty dark right now. The people in charge, at least here in the United States, are making very cruel and heartless decisions. They are eliminating basically any type of aid for people who are struggling with poverty, school lunches. I worked at a school in Chicago in between undergrad and grad school, and I knew a lot of my students that breakfast and lunch was their food. That was their food for the day. So that's really troubling. Obviously, we have the thing going down in Florida that is abhorrent, and I don't know what to do. But if you guys know of, it's just okay, do I go to another protest? What do I do? But economically, these things are going to have a huge impact on all of us, getting rid of a lot of these aid programs that people need to function. And we still haven't raised the minimum wage in 20 years. We still haven't, wages are far being outpaced by inflation, by cost of living, despite productivity. Cost of living is getting hard for everybody. And that makes me worried that MLMs will have a boost. So that's why if you're new here and some people, even in 2025, aren't aware of MLMs or don't really know the details about it, because they thrive in certain spaces and in small towns. And, now they've gone more mainstream since social media, but there are people that I've met in the real world that had no idea when I did Beachbody that it was an MLM or what that even means, and that don't know that some of these kind of everyday companies that a lot of people have heard of, like Mary Kay, Pampered Chef, Tupperware, a lot of people don't know that those are MLMs too, and there are a lot of people that don't know about the business model. So I'm worried that people are going to get drawn in with the idea of that second source of income. I need another stream of income. I need something I can do in the pockets of my day because I'm already busy. I'm working a full-time job and I need more money. And the job market right now is really terrible. So everything's getting expensive, and it's kind of not a feasible option to go job hunting for a job that pays more. And you can try to negotiate a raise. That can be really hard. And if you have the capacity to do that and you can come to your boss and be I deserve a raise or a promotion or whatever, go for it. But we don't have a lot of options. And I'm just worried that MLMs are going to be having a resurgence, even though the last couple years, they kind of peaked in the panorama and then declined, but we saw them peak in the panorama. Like when people are going through hard times, MLMs prey on that. So that was my first thought that I wanted to talk about. And I want to know if you guys are seeing out in there in the wild, because you often see MLM reps use that as a recruiting tactic. Like, oh, things are getting more expensive. Like, oh my gosh, eggs are $7. So like join my MLM. And like, I paid for groceries this month. You know, we went over all those income claims last week, and they're really, you know, they often will mention the state of the world. And as if that is, they'll mention the state of the world and they'll make it sound like they're not being predatory, like they're offering you a solution to what's going on in the world. But let me tell you, the only solution is class consciousness. So join me over in socialism, please. Okay, look, it's not the most important thing about him, but Zoran Mamdani is also hot. I'm just saying. I love his platform. Really excited about him, and have a progressive running for Congress in Illinois that I'm going to get involved with her volunteer team too. So the second thing that I wanted to say, here's the second thing that I wanted to say. I've talked with some of you guys in my DMs, which is awesome. Please DM me. I love it. And some people were in like Rodan and Fields, Beachbody, obviously, Saint, some of these other ones, Modair, that have closed, and that is what woke them up, and that is what got them out. So I just want to say to you, if you're watching, if you're one of those people, and to the larger anti-MLM community in general, it is absolutely legit. The way that you got out is legitimate. It's not like it doesn't count because you didn't leave the MLM left you. It doesn't matter. If it woke you up and you're like, wait, this is terrible that they did this to us. I thought I was a business owner, but they can take it away at any moment. And you start to have those realizations, and you start to see bridge contracts, or you know, your upline tries to take you with them to another company, and you see shenanigans going on. Like, that can wake you up. And that is just as legit as someone who's in an MLM and wakes up and leaves. It's different for all of us. And the metaphor that I came up with is, if you are in an unhealthy, toxic relationship, some people see that and they leave at some point. Other people, what gets them to leave is that person cheats on them and then leaves them for someone else. And then they suddenly realize that the entire relationship was unhealthy, and they still have to heal from it. Either way, you have to go through the process of healing from it. So you have to go through the deprogramming when it comes to MLMs. And the reason I want to say this to the broader anti-MLM community as well is because if this person is in the process of waking up, we want to encourage that. We don't want to tell them that it doesn't count because they got left and they didn't actually make that decision. They're still making that decision. If they don't go to another MLM, they are in a spot right now where they're like, I don't want to go to another MLM, but maybe they could be swayed. We want them to know, like, we see them and we're here to support them on their journey of deprogramming. And it doesn't matter what wakes you up. It just matters that you woke up. So whether you left the MLM or you got left by the MLM, it's still a toxic relationship that you have to heal from. And I don't want us in the anti-MLM community to push people back into the arms of another MLM because we're so snarky, or we're like, oh, it doesn't count because you didn't do it, or like, you're only mad because you lost money or whatever. No, we want to encourage them, and it is a process. Like, when I left Beachbody, there were phases of like detaching from Beachbody. It didn't happen all at once. And no one said, like, I told you so, or no one said, like, wow, you were cringe for all those years. I said these things to myself. And when I would talk to other people about them, those people were actually super kind to me, and they would reassure me. They were like, you respected me when I said no, and I really appreciated that. You had other interests, and you did make some cringe posts, but you clearly were passionate about it, and like, it just didn't bother me. So they were really kind to me. And even the people that I apologized to in my downline, they were like very forgiving. And so I just think like kindness to people who are kind of on the brink, whether they are still in the MLM or not. Like there's opportunity for us to show true friendship and true community and true kindness, whereas what their uplines are giving them are transactional relationships, toxic positivity, manipulative kindness, conditional kindness, conditional friendship that's conditional on your performance in the MLM. So that is my little rant for today. And then let's get into today's video. By the way, I did not mean for this eyeshadow look to turn out so dramatic, but it's just what happened. I wanted to do a purple look, and this is what happened in the palette. So then I had to go change my shirt to this like kind of gothic thing with like woo sleeves. You know, it's kind of fun. And then I had to put in my Chat Noir earrings. So I'm very dramatic. I'm very dramatic today. It's kind of giving like Disney villain, like Maleficent or Ursula. I don't know. I'm feeling it. Okay, today's video is not going to be all about Amy.
I was lying. It was a lie.
Maybe too many videos about Amy because she's doing the thing. Well, you could just go watch them, but one of the shenanigans that I hate the most about top MLM huns is that they automatically think they're qualified to just do anything, and they're like qualified to be life coaches and stuff, and I'm like, you're so unqualified. So I have a lot of videos on her, and we're just going to react to one story because, again, she's acting like she is a weight loss expert, health and fitness expert. She's not a personal trainer. She's not a nutritionist or dietitian. And she's going to give her thoughts on GLP-1's. And I could probably do a compilation on people who are unqualified, particularly MLM huns, but also life coaches and other types of people talking about GLP-1's. It's just like the shenanigans of this. But yeah, especially MLM huns. Should I do that? Should I do a supercut MLM huns talking about GLP-1's? They're so unqualified to do so. Look at me running into things. Okay. So I just want to say that before we start, Amy is 5'9". So, okay guys, we are going to talk a little bit about calorie deficits and GLP-1's, and there is the person we are reacting to has some, in my opinion, kind of toxic weight loss habits that she's endorsing here. So I just wanted to put this kind of trigger warning in here. If eating in a really low calorie deficit and losing weight really fast and those types of things are really triggering for you, feel free to watch one of my other videos today, or I'll see you in the next one. Okay.
So at the beginning of this week, I started in the 150s, and I've been going up and down into the 150s for like the past year. And just from being on Kevin's program for 2 full days, I'm already at 148 point something, 148.4. So he was like, you'll probably lose 3 pounds this week. I'm tracking to lose like 7 pounds this week. So I'm going to cut.
I'm sorry. I have to stop her there. You should know better. Everyone, yes, she's not a personal trainer. She's not a nutritionist, but everyone knows that you should not lose 7 pounds in a week unless you like literally have a baby. Like, and you gave birth and the baby and the afterbirth and stuff. Like, that's the only acceptable time. Like, that maybe you have a severe stomach flu. Even that's not healthy. It's like you had the stomach flu. Like, why are you bragging about losing 7 pounds in a week? That's not good. It's terrible. Also, 5'9" and 150 pounds is thin. Like, she looks thin. She is thin. And I have some tea on her that she's been billing her plastic surgery as an explant, but that's not the case. She got her implants replaced and she got a tummy tuck. So yeah, it's not natural. And that now at some point, I guess now she's losing weight with Kevin's program, but if she's losing 2 pounds in 2 days, that's not something to brag about. Like, this does not make your program look legitimate. And she's had 3 kids, and like, I do want to say women never have to justify their body size or like weight gain throughout their lives, like whether or not you've had kids. Like your body deserves to exist and not be scrutinized, and you don't have to justify any weight gain to anybody. You are only accountable to yourself, you know, whatever you want. So that being said, I think we said this last time we looked at Amy. She's just so obsessed with her body and with her physical appearance. And we see this a lot with top MLM huns. Like, it just becomes, you are allowed, of course, another disclaimer, you are allowed to care about your appearance. You are allowed to participate in whatever beauty standards you want to participate in. No one is a perfect feminist who completely eschews patriarchal beauty standards. That's unrealistic. And I get it. Obviously, I'm a makeup artist. I love glam. Like, I love makeup. I love fashion. And I do not judge any woman who chooses to partake in this. But if you watch this whole story, she's just obsessive. And there comes a point where your appearance is so important that it's unhealthy. And you have to know where that line is for you.
And so his new program is going to be all about sprints with breaks in between, which you've never learned how to do that. Trust me, you haven't. And
how do you know? Kevin's not even a personal trainer. I went and I looked at his Instagram. I went to their website. I tried to look for everything. It doesn't say anything. He doesn't have any like letters next to his name. He doesn't have any certifications listed. If he got those certifications, wouldn't you think he would list them? Like, wouldn't they put that on the page advertising this program? I think they would. And if he does have them and they didn't put it up there, then they're bad at marketing, and that was a stupid decision. So either way, these are not very smart people.
And so, you know, I know that like the marathon, not a sprint mentality has been shoved down our throats so much, myself included, that I really struggled with this idea of going into a deficit. But the way that Kevin's going to be doing with you is like in this completely different way. He finally like realized that people need to sprint to weight loss, because asking somebody to be in a deficit for years without any slip ups is not doable for most people. It's a very...
He realized through what? Through his registered dietitian schooling? Through his dietitian course? Through his nutritionist course? Like, he just realized no one is asking people to be in a deficit for years at a time. Even if you are somebody who's 300, 400, 500 pounds, they take breaks. Like, you are in a deficit for a few months, and then you go in maintenance for a month, and then you go back into a deficit. It's like a whole thing. No one is asking you to be in a deficit for years. You are projecting your experience with Beachbody onto everyone else. Most people are in a deficit for a short period of time, or if they have a longer way to go, like I said, in a deficit for a few months, take a break, in a deficit for a few months, whatever it is. In Beachbody, you are constantly doing whatever program comes up next. And so you then like go into a deficit for that program. But you can choose maintenance on the containers. You don't have to choose deficit if you're like, and actually, I don't know if this was one of the earlier programs, Body Beast. That's actually a bodybuilding program. So at the end, there's a bulking portion where you eat in a surplus because you're putting on muscle. So no one's asking you to be in a deficit constantly. That was something you chose as a top body hun to always be chasing that next level of thinness and shreddedness. And maybe that just wasn't healthy or sustainable for your body, but you could have just maintained and you didn't have to constantly be chasing that ideal and be so obsessed with your body. Like, you are projecting your issues onto people, and I hope you heal your relationship with your body, because this is really unhealthy.
Specific personality type that can do that. And so he's going to help you to get to the weight loss goal you want to be at quickly and then help you to reverse out of that so that you don't have to be in a deficit for the rest of your fucking life, right? And then also you can start to reach different goals, like gain muscle, look ripped, get toned. Like, let's get you in and out of that.
What qualifications does Kevin have to do any of this? I would not trust Kevin to design a meal plan for me. You get to decide, like, you don't have to follow someone else's plan. You can create your own plan. You know, that's what I have to say about that. And like, getting to your weight loss goal quickly and then reversing out of it just sounds like yo-yo dieting to me. Am I the only one? You know what? This video might just be on Amy because I have been yapping so much. I mean, I just had so many thoughts about health and fitness and diet and my body over the last decade, you know, from joining Beachbody and then leaving Beachbody and kind of getting back into like, what is my healthy lifestyle and my fitness routine and my diet, like not going on a diet, but like what I'm eating as my general habits. Like, what is that going to look like and what is sustainable for me and what is my relationship to my body? You know, I've had a lot of thoughts on that. So I have a lot of passionate feelings on these types of things, especially when I think something is toxic.
Quickly, so you can be back in maintenance and back at a place that's sustainable. So I'm really excited for this, and it's working for me big time. And you know, I used to always...
sorry, I stopped her again so quickly. But if the calorie deficit, okay, obviously no calorie deficit is sustainable because you shouldn't be in a deficit forever. But in general, at least the way I've been doing it, that I've found, you know, I lost 15 pounds and then I maintained for a year, is that it just is like, it's a version of eating that I can sustain. It's just not as much food as I would eat. So in my opinion, your calorie deficit should be sustainable, not that level of calories, but in general, like what you eat when you're in your deficit, instead of like depriving yourself of all these foods that you like or being like super hungry. Like, I just don't, this sounds miserable. I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it slow and almost feel like how I would feel at the end of the day, and get to the end of the day and I'm like, I could eat a little more, but I'm not like ravenous. So that's how mine is. And that's how I think it should be. I think it should be like, oh, it feels like I didn't quite eat enough. Like I could use like another snack, you know, like another 300 or 500 calorie little snack, little meal thing, but then just go to bed. So, and that has worked for me. And I still like have some ice cream. I just have like a little bit. I have less than I would if I were not in a deficit. And anyway, sorry. Oh goodness. I look kind of like a ram with my hair in this thing, which works for me because I have an Aries stellium from my astrology girlies. I'm Aries rising, Venus, and Jupiter.
I always try to teach bioindividuality and help people with their bioindividuality with using the containers as like a baseline. But there was this huge piece missing with the education of teaching people like how to actually understand their nutrition without getting overwhelmed. And so that's what he's going to be doing with this program. He's going to be taking...
How do you have the qualifications to teach bioindividuality? Neither of you even have a college degree. And if you did, it's not in dietetics. It's not in nutrition. It's not in biology. It's not any of these things. She did not finish her college degree, which was going to be in photography. You are not qualified. Yeah, I'm going to go have my photographer write me up a meal plan. Don't do it.
In a limited amount of people for the group coaching container, if that's something you want to do. And he's going to be helping you to adjust your macros. And then he's also going to...
Anyone who uses the term container to refer to a program that they're selling, that's a red flag. And we're going to get into that with all the light worker manifestation people. This is free advice before we get into that. Like if someone uses the word container, you're cooked.
Offer a one-on-one option, which I know I need. If I didn't have the one-on-one with Kevin doing my macros for me, I'd really struggle. So he's going to be offering that. And then he's also going to have we're going to be doing like a group challenge format with prizes and everything. So it's going to be really fun. So that's coming the weekend after July 4th. So if you And in the nutrition program, he's going to.
So all this tells me is that she tried to do the no rules branding school. That flopped. She tried to do her workshops that were about just living life better. You can check out my videos on those. Those must have also flopped. So now she's shilling Kevin's thing and trying to position herself and him as fitness and nutrition experts. She's like, oh, maybe I should go back to what I was successful at Beachbody, which is just trying to help people get as skinny as possible.
To teach you how to do all this. So if you just want to do it on your own, you can just get the nutrition program and you can do it all on your own. And then you're like, okay, I need help. Then then that's why we wanted to do some more like high touch coaching, because I feel like that's what people need. And I know that it's in the beginning, it can feel really hard
because you have the time for it and you can charge more for one-on-one because you guys aren't making money because all your other workshops flopped. Until you acknowledge that you harmed a lot of people and that you don't deserve the money that you made in Beachbody, you're never going to get out of this rat race of trying to be like a millionaire on social media and just trying to shill a bunch of nonsense. You're never going to get out of it. You need to get real. She's a good photographer. She's a good graphic designer. She could get a real job. Even with all of her years being out of the workforce, photography is one of those fields that like you can get into because it's just the photography that matters.
And having that community to lean on is like so important, and having like a coach like Kevin to be able to look at what you have done and then to be able to adjust it to your own personal needs is going to be like super clutch. So really excited to be able to offer that. That's what I'm going to, after this Rooted and Realigned series is over, I'm just going to be really focusing on that. And I'm going to be all up in doing that program and helping Kevin and, being a part of that community as well. So that's just going to be my focus from now until the end of summer, just really focusing on helping people with their wellness and getting back to what I love, and helping you to feel really good in your. One of the reasons, and so I'm a manifesting generator, and when you're a manifesting generator, you need to really just go where you feel most lit up. And, at the end of last year, it was really all about like helping people with social media and building a business. And, and I'm still doing that in my extension program with like my students that wanted to stick around and learn from me. But as we head into this new summer, like energy, and like I'm approaching like full recovery of my surgery, I get to wear real clothes on Fridays, my friend's wedding. I get to wear a dress for the first time. I get to take off my compression garments, and I'm feeling so good that I'm finally like breaking through that.
She has compression garments because she got, allegedly, I have heard she got liposuction or a tummy tuck or both. But that's why you have to wear compression garments.
And I just really feel like as much as I'm fired up about social media and helping people to make money and alignment and life by design, none of that feels good if I'm not feeling good, right? And so at the end of the day, like we need to feel really good in our body.
So she's refusing to admit that those things weren't successful, and she's like, you can see it. Like you can see how she lies and how she bends the truth. So the branding school wasn't successful. And so she's like, oh, I'm going to teach these workshops because like, this is actually what I'm passionate about. And I had all these realizations in therapy. It's not that the branding school failed. It's this other thing. And now she's like, oh, well, those other things, like I did them and they were amazing, but like, I'm passionate about this now because none of that matters if I'm not feeling physically good. It's just like rewriting history.
Body's really energized, really confident, really sexy. And so I feel like I need to get back down to the foundations of what Friday's a big day because it's 6 weeks post-op. So all the compression stuff gets to come off.
Like why? Okay, some people have chronic illness and they're never going to feel like really good in their bodies. Some people are never going to feel energized. Have you met someone with Hashimoto's? Like they really struggle with feeling tired. Have you met someone with fibromyalgia? Have you met someone? Why do we need to feel sexy? Why? Why do we need to feel sexy? That is completely superfluous. If you want to feel sexy, go ahead. Like do what it is that makes you feel sexy. But you don't have to be thin to feel sexy. You don't have to be shredded. You don't have to be, suctioning off all the fat on your body because you can't handle having anything less than a perfect appearance by Western beauty standards. I'm sorry, but I think confidence is sexy. I think knowing yourself is sexy. I think not being in a cult is sexy. I think choosing what you want to do because it makes you happy. Like, this makeup look made me so happy to create. And it's not even that, like, yeah, I feel sexy, sure. But like when I create my makeup looks, it's like the artistry for it. And oftentimes it's, you know, I'm tend to date men, and I don't do my makeup for men because men generally prefer a much more neutral look. I'm like, I don't care what you prefer. I care what lights me up as an artist. But being sexy is not being so insecure about everything. Being sexy is knowing your limits, like having a really strong sense of self. You know, it's really interesting that she did that Rooted series when I feel like she's just adrift. Like she has no foundation and she keeps going from thing to thing to thing just to try to find the thing that's going to make her money. Being sexy is knowing what makes you happy, knowing what brings you joy. And if that can also bring you money, that's awesome. But if you know that it can't, then, you know, just make money however you can and still do what you love when no one's watching, when you're not getting paid for it. That's sexy, in my opinion.
So I'm wearing compression leggings right now. I get to wear dresses and shorts and start to dress for the weather. And I'm just so excited. And when I was thinking about, like, you know, the summer energy and what I really want to focus on for summer, it's all about being outside. It's all about sweating. It's all about feeling good. It's all about feeling good in your skin and confident, and sexy, and bathing suits and just like carefree feeling. And I just want to help more people feel that way. And, you know, Kevin's created something truly amazing.
You clearly don't feel that way unless you reach a certain number on the scale. Like, again, I don't judge anyone who chooses to get plastic surgery, tummy tuck, liposuction, whatever. But when you're lying about it on social media and then you're acting like this calorie deficit is like a super healthy, like good for your body, it's all about appearance. Like the sexiest thing is being confident, being confident in a swimsuit. Because I feel like that person that's like, oh, I'm not going to be confident in a swimsuit until I lose 10 more pounds. They lose those 10 pounds and they're still not going to be confident in the swimsuit. You know what I mean? We're getting a little philosophical here, but again, she's 5'9" and 150 pounds. She's driving me crazy.
Remarkable and life-changing for so many people who have just gotten super sidetracked with so many trends and so many philosophies and so much anti this and pro that, and people projecting their own issues out there on social media. And I just want to help you to feel good in your skin and to do what feels good for you. And
that's what you're doing. You're projecting your issues onto social media. I can't.
And that's what we're going to do. And I'm just really excited just to get back to the foundations of what I love, and that is wellness, fitness, and feeling.
You don't feel confident in your own skin. You got plastic surgery. That is the epitome of not feeling confident in your own skin. Like, and if Kevin's weight loss works so fast, why did you need to get a tummy tuck? Why couldn't you have just been in his deficit? I just don't. It's a calorie deficit is a calorie deficit. Kevin doesn't have anything new that is under the sun. Kevin does not. If you need help from a professional and you want a meal plan that is tailored to your specific needs, talk to a dietitian, talk to a nutritionist. Sometimes they have them at gyms. You know, like sometimes your health insurance will cover a couple sessions and maybe they could get you started. But like, honestly, it's just the basics. Like if you eat in a calorie deficit, a small calorie deficit, and you aren't like drinking a ton of alcohol and eating a ton of cupcakes and chips and all the things, still eat some of those because that is what makes life worth living. But, you know, you can just like, I can't. God, we are doing another whole video on Amy because she just grinds my gears.
Oh, I forgot to share too. I am done with Invisalign. I finished and they like evened out all my teeth. See how straight they are? One of them was longer than the other. My bottom teeth were crowded. No longer crowded. I'm so happy with it. It took forever. I think I started in like fall of like 2023. I started my Invisalign when I was in a completely different timeline of my life. But now I got a brand new smile that I get to live with, and my front teeth were actually getting pushed in. They were like going like this, and I didn't even notice until I saw them. I originally started Invisalign for my bottom teeth, and my front teeth really benefited too. My entire smile did. So took forever 10/10 recommend. So excited to be done. And now I get to wear a retainer every night on my top teeth when I go to bed, but that's fine. It's fine. It's worth the smile.
Okay, we're going to get into the stuff about Ozempic, which is, it's going to be great. But I left that part in because, again, there's nothing wrong with getting Invisalign or braces as an adult if you kind of missed that boat as a kid. Like, I had braces when I was a kid. A lot of us had them as kids, but sometimes you missed that either because your parents can't afford them, or maybe you were on like the elder side of millennial or Gen X where it wasn't as common. Like they started getting, in my generation, they started getting more like if you even had the slightest anything with your teeth, then you got braces. But before that, if you had like just kind of okay teeth, if you didn't have any egregious like overbite or gapping or anything, then they skipped on braces for you. So I could definitely understand people choose to get braces as an adult or Invisalign. Like, I totally get it. And it's just another example of like how obsessive she is about every aspect of her physical appearance and constantly talking about it. And that's the thing that you don't realize until you become a more confident, secure person, that insecure people are the ones always pointing out all their flaws to you, or always pointing out like what they've had done, or like asking you to like compliment them and be like, oh, it's so much better now, and all these things. Like you see it everywhere, you know. And I get the impulse to, I know, like, my hair looks crazy, or like you want to let people know that you know that you're not. But once you become more confident, you're just like, nobody's thinking about me but me. Although I kind of did that at the beginning of this video. I was like, I have this thing in my hair. I know I have this thing in my hair. Obviously, I know I have this thing in my hair. But yeah, that's a very human thing. And it's a very human thing to be like, yeah, I know something's wrong. I know this isn't perfect. Like, everyone's noticing. I'm just going to like get out in front of it and tell people. But actually, no one's noticing it, you know? Like, it's just one of those things that, like, she has all the things done and talks about them all the time, and then portrays herself as like, I'm this like confident, happy, sexy, carefree woman. And it's like, you're like 99% of your brain space is taken up on your appearance and your body and like all the things that you get done to maintain that. Like, that doesn't come off as like this confident, sexy, like, I mean, she doesn't even say like it's what's on the inside that counts. It's like, she essentially said like, I can't do anything if I don't feel hot. Which is like, you got to do stuff when you don't feel hot. I should work up the courage to come on here without makeup someday.
And let me talk about like Ozempic for a second. One of the things I'm seeing out there with Ozempic is extreme weight loss without muscle retention. I can really pinpoint I can see when somebody has lost weight with Ozempic because they are lacking the muscle structure. And not to be judgy, more concerned with the fact that, especially if you are in your 40s or 50s, having muscle on you is like the most important thing. So if you're on Ozempic and you're looking to lose weight with it and you want to do it the right way, I'm going
to stop you right there. Ozempic is for diabetes. Wegovy and Mounjaro are for weight loss. So you're already wrong. You already don't know what you're talking about. And yes, weight loss they all have like the same, you know, active ingredients. And obviously you do lose weight on Ozempic, but Ozempic specifically is prescribed for diabetes. Okay? So that's the first thing. Wegovy and Mounjaro are for weight loss. Secondly, what if these people are on it for diabetes, for blood sugar issues? And there are a lot of other conditions that it's coming out now that these GLP-1's help with, like food noise, ADHD, even some other chronic illnesses. It has been shown to help with these things. So more stuff will probably come out. We'll probably see more, and it will probably start to get approved to be prescribed for other things besides just diabetes. But weight loss is also a medicine in and of itself for some of these conditions. But I don't think that people, maybe she's talking to people who are getting it off label through a med spa or something, but people who are prescribed this by their doctor for a reason maybe are at a place in their life where they need to get fat off their bodies and it's something they really struggle with and they need to use this as a tool. Like maybe they don't need you to come up and tell them about how they're losing muscle too. And they need to get their muscle retention and they need to take Kevin's program so that they can build muscle in their 40s and 50s. Like maybe you're kind of the last person they need to be talking to about this, or to the last person they need talking to them about it. Like maybe you should shut your mouth. Maybe you're not an expert on everything, Amy. Maybe you are not qualified to speak on this.
Definitely learn how to track and how to do your macros and how to train so that you can use it to not only just lose the weight, but also to get healthier, right? Because losing the fat is part of the puzzle. The next step is putting on the muscle to be strong and youthful. So Kevin is really well versed on peptides. He is the biohacking guy. He's got a cocktail in our fridge. He's that guy. And he is so smart. He knows so much about how all of this works. And
then why doesn't he just get a degree, become a registered dietitian? Why not? If he's so smart, is he smart enough to know that just making stuff up and just trying to shill it? He's a peptide. Now peptides have entered the chat.
So if I was to pay the kind of money that people are paying for Ozempic, I would also invest in a one-on-one coach, because you're going to want to eventually cycle off of it and you're going to want to eventually be able to, continue working on building muscle, because as you age, the number one thing that you should be focused on is lowering your visceral fat and gaining muscle. So he's going to help you to achieve that, and also to be able to get fit for life. It can be an amazing tool, but a lot of people are not.
No, if you come off of these GLP-1s, you should not hire a coach. Coach means nothing. Coach is a completely unregulated term. Life coach, whatever, completely unregulated industry. You should hire a personal trainer or a dietitian or a nutritionist. Or sometimes there are personal trainers that have a nutritionist certification as well. I believe Jen Baruso is one of them. They can help you. And maybe before you come off it, you should work with a nutritionist, because you want to develop those healthy habits while you're on it, so that when you come off, you are eating healthy things and you're just eating you have a regular appetite again. I'm not a doctor. I am not a nutritionist. As a layperson, I think you would be in much better hands with someone who is an expert. And then you can tell them your own history and medical history, and they might have a little bit more knowledge to be able to help you. You could talk to your doctor. Don't hire Kevin Mashburn, who has no certificates, no degrees, not even bothering.
Using it correctly. So if you're going to go that route, please, 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 please work with somebody who can help you to do it correctly. I'm laughing at myself because now I'm I got one more thing I want to talk about. I want to talk about Zone 2 cardio, but I was just thinking how, one of the things.
Who are you to tell people whether or not they're doing it correctly? I mean, okay. As regular people, obviously, we can say if someone went on a GLP-1 and they just ate cookies and ultra-processed food the whole time and they never changed the underlying habits, as lay people, we can be yeah, you're doing it wrong, I suppose. But there's so many people using them for so many different reasons, and you don't know people's stories. You don't know what people are struggling with. Why do you feel you can get on here on Instagram stories and lecture people about GLP-1s? The audacity. This is the thing we were talking about, the reverse imposter syndrome. One of you guys told me the name for it. There's a name for it, an actual name for when imposter syndrome is when you are qualified, but you don't feel like you are. And all these MLM huns, they are completely unqualified and they think they are the expert on everything and they can lecture everybody on all their decisions. whatever that term is again. Please leave it in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. But like, Amy has never gotten a personal training certification. She has never done a nutritionist certification, and neither has Kevin. And just because he's the biohacking peptide guy, I mean, danger. Like, there are so many biohacking bros on TikTok, and some of them drink their own pee. Like, this is not a qualification. Oh, he's so smart, says you, the college dropout. I'm not being judgy, though. I'm not being judgy.
I really preach is like seasonal rhythms, and like I've gotten really into human design and just really understanding the way I work. And as a manifesting generator, like I'm supposed to be all over the place. I'm supposed to be talking about social media one day and building a business another day and marriage another day and health and fitness another day and then gardening and then knitting. I'm supposed to be that way. And I know it can feel like I'm like all over the place, but in my brain, it feels very organized. So today we're talking a lot about health and fitness, and I think it just goes hand in hand with my root.
Or maybe you have undiagnosed ADHD. Why does it have to be human design, which is a pseudoscience? Why don't you talk to your therapist and like talk to your therapist, or you could it's just being a person with diverse interests and hobbies. I don't think we're supposed to just have one thing we're interested in or that we want to talk about with people. Like, why does everything have to be filtered through these pseudoscience things? You know, why does everything have to have some kind of like overarching spirituality, something that you can like monetize or be like, now I'm an expert in this so I can teach it? Like, God, Manifestation Babe was into human design too. And we've talked about that. It was created by a drug-tripping, white, middle-aged Canadian businessman tripping balls in Ibiza. Like, it's a pseudoscience.
Reline series, because if I wasn't really aligned and rooted in who I was, I could feel like, you know, a type A person would be like, oh, you're just like flip-floppy and you're just like, you know, you're all over the place and like you need to pick a lane. And it's like, no, I don't, because I know how I operate. Thank you very much. Walking at an incline, get out there.
So you're so rooted and you know yourself so well that you need this pseudoscientific system to give you the confidence to justify why you are that way. You can't just say, I just like to talk about different things. That's just who I am. And like, I'm just that way. Like, no, you have to justify it with like, well, in human design, I'm a manifesting generator. So therefore, I'm designed this way. And it's like, why do you have to justify it if you're so rooted in who you are? And if you're so rooted and confident in who you are, why do you keep changing businesses?
A lot this summer. I'm always my happiest, healthiest self when I'm out walking on an incline and hiking a lot and getting in a lot of steps. But listen, zone 2, walking is the most underestimated workout you can do. When in doubt, walk. Walk your off. 10,000, 12,000 steps a day. Try to walk at an incline. And listen,
okay, before she changes the subject, I do want just that little bit. Yeah, I have something to say. I was almost going to be like, say something positive because she's like, oh, I'm like my happiest when I'm out hiking. But she had to modify it. She had to say, my happiest and healthiest when I'm out hiking on an incline, getting my steps in. Everything is about the exercise, the fitness, the body. It's like, why can't hiking is about the view. Hiking is about being in nature. Hiking is about spending time with a friend or your husband or family. Like, I went on a hike with my sister and my gremlins last time I went out to visit, and it had rained, and so it was like really squashy in some places. And we made up games about how we were lost in a swamp. And I was like, oh, when we see this mark, that means the fairies have been here. And I was like in full super ant mode. And I do not remember whether we walked at an incline or a decline. I remember the squashiness and like trying to avoid the squashiness. I remember being in nature. I remember being with family and coming up with this fun game for my gremlins, for us to all have this memory together. Like, that's And sure, we got some exercise, but like I wasn't even thinking like this is my exercise. I'm like I'm spending time with my family. It's always about the body, and it's always, she tries to say like it's not about achievement, but she's always trying to be like bragging about what she's achieved and going after the next thing, and it's just like what you say with your lips is directly contradicted all the time with other stuff you say out of your lips.
So much information out there that is so confusing about what we should and shouldn't be eating. Let me just tell you the facts. We are more sedentary than we think we are. We are all eating way more than we think we should. And we don't even know what healthy looks like in society anymore. So skinny has nothing to do with patriarchy. It has to do with low body fat. There's so much stupid shit that I see out there on social media. We need to be focusing on health. And the fact of the matter is, low body fat and having muscle is the healthiest thing you can have for your heart. Plain and simple. And I think the whole anti-diet culture thing is cute until you're 50 and you're having to, at risk of a heart attack, and you have to go on blood pressure meds and you have no idea how to lower that stuff, where Kevin has done all of that naturally himself, which he's going to start adding that to his Instagram. It's really cute when a little 25 or 30-year-old influencer tells us like, oh, don't focus on being skinny this summer. Focus on, being strong, when the visceral fat around your body and your heart is lowering your life expectancy. I'm just fucking sick of it. Like, facts are lower body fat, more muscle, really great, healthy cardiovascular system. That's what's going to help you live longer. And no, we're not guaranteed to live forever, but the quality of life that it gives you is also so much better, especially with kids. So just remember that, okay? One of my biggest motivators, especially...
So condescending. Oh gosh. Wow, she is really bothered by people pushing back on skinny talk. Like, tell me you don't understand the situation without telling me. I would say most of us reasonable people agree that we want to have muscle and cardiovascular health to the extent that we can and not have a bunch of excess fat on our bodies. We want to be able to move around as much as we can. I mean, people have disabilities, of course, but I don't think anybody's saying like you shouldn't work out, you shouldn't walk, you shouldn't build muscle. No one's saying that. People are just pushing back on skinny talk and the return of early 2000s so super skinny, which is not healthy either in my opinion. But like, that's all it is. Like, people are saying, hey, it's more important to be strong and healthy than to be skinny. Like that example she used, it's like that person is specifically pushing back on the idea of skinny, not thin, not medium, like skinny, because of skinny talk and so many girls trying to be skinny legends and chasing a very, very thin, very skinny, teeny tiny ideal that is not good for every body type. It's just, why do I have to explain this? Like, and why is she so mad at people being anti-diet culture? Like, diet, maybe because the lady doth protest too much. She's on a crash diet right now. And she's getting all offended because instead of losing weight in a slow, healthy, sustainable way, she's on an extremely low-calorie crash diet trying to lose 7 pounds in a week. And so she's all bothered by it and trying to justify and acting like what she's doing is healthy. And everyone else who's calling out those kinds of crash diets and the obsession with skinny is wrong because they want you to have a ton of visceral fat and no muscle. I'm like, that's a straw man argument. You've created a straw man argument that you can argue against, but like, you're bothered because you know they're right. Like, I don't know. What happened? This is why I'm on YouTube. Nuance. We have to have nuance. Like, it does feel like we've got this return to extreme Y2K skinniness, and that's not healthy. Also, I think it's fine if you want to lose some weight. It's your body. And like that, it's just, I don't know why everything has to be extreme. And yeah, it's so condescending the way that she's doing it too. Like, I know what's healthy. I know what's best. And these people are just wrong, and don't listen to them. You're going to be unhealthy if you listen to them. Health and weight and bodies are so nuanced. It's such a difficult topic to talk about, and I'm not right about everything. I don't get everything right, and I am willing to learn and grow and be corrected. You know? But I'm not on here trying to tell you guys what to do. I told you what worked for me and the decision that I made for my own body, regardless of anything else. And I told you about my own version of 75 hard, just sharing. Like I said I was doing in Beachbody. Oh, just share what you're doing. Just share what you love. But am I going to tell you guys what to do with your own body? It's your body. And don't let Amy tell you what to do either. It is an intensely personal thing. And it's not just about the food you eat or the movement you do. There's so much mental and emotional stuff. And we all have a different relationship to our bodies. And it just makes me mad when someone thinks that they have all the answers and goes off like this because they feel insecure.
Getting into helping people with health and fitness, even at 25, was losing my grandfather to a heart attack. My most fondest memories with him was dipping out his diabetes medication, all the colors, putting them all in there for him. That was something he let me do. Walking with him every single night because that's what his doctor told him to do. And eating all the sugar-free processed food they had. So Kevin lost his grandfather at 40 to a heart attack and his dad at 60. We are just really passionate about, first of all, getting to grow old together, not having to ever leave each other, but also when our kids are older, because I'm an old mom. My last kid, I'll be pushing 60 when he graduates. I want to be able to continue to hike and explore and scuba dive and do all the things I love to do far beyond that with Kevin and my family. So if you're struggling with a vision, you can borrow mine.
So yeah, I would love to do all those things too. One of my grandfathers died in his 50s of a heart attack, and he was thin. My other grandfather died when I was 4 of kidney disease, which is genetic, and now there's more treatments for it than there was back then. But you can make all the decisions. He was also thin. All of my grandparents were thin. And you can do the best you can, but you can't control everything in life. And I get the heart, especially having a heart attack at a really young age, having that happen in your family. Definitely, take all the heart healthy precautions you can. That's really smart and responsible, especially if you have people who are relying on you. But it's the fact that she's kind of shaming people and being if you're not living your life exactly the way I am, you could die of a heart attack at 40, or you're not prioritizing growing old with your spouse and with your family. It just seems if you have heart issues in your family, talk to your doctor. I almost don't know what to say, because it's so holier than thou. It's so, I know what's best for everybody. It's driving me nuts. It's just so holier than thou with nothing to back it up. And this specific Instagram story felt like a return to Beachbody top coach Amy, who would give these really condescending trainings to her downline, me included. And this really condescending advice, and just this very holier than thou, well, I did it, so if I can do it, you can do it. Which we all know to be false in MLM. If someone else did it, that means there's not room for anyone else to do it. Except maybe 1 or 2 other people. That's the business structure. And she was so mean. This is a taste. You don't even know. And she called it tough love. This is just a little glimpse. This is pulling back the mask. And that's why in my last video, I said, I think Kat's mean, because she showed a little bit. And I know because Amy showed a little bit, and I know she was mean from my behind the scenes experiences with her. So as a good journalist, I wanted to add one more thing to my video from last week. So the income claims from Aaron Hopkins that we reviewed in our last video, as I was editing, I had this other thought that I wanted to add. So I wrote it down and I'm adding it here. When they were doing those income claims, they are actually comparing what the number on their paycheck from the MLM to the number they got paid, the number that goes into their bank account in both cases. You know, you get paid weekly from Beachbody. Say your 9 to 5 is $1,000 a week, and you get $1,000 a week deposited, and then your Beachbody income reaches $1,000 a week. You're just looking at the auto deposit, and what's happening is they are comparing their 1099 pay to their W-2 pay. And the number that goes in the bank account when you work a real job is post-taxes. So unless you actually go and look at your pay stub and you see the number before, which is very sad, and I try not to do it too much, then you're not comparing the right thing. So the number that goes in from your Make Wellness, direct deposit is pre-tax. You still have to pay taxes on that. And if you ever look at the amount that you would have received without taxes on your paycheck, you know that's a lot more. So when they say, oh, last month I matched my full-time job salary, did you? Gross income or net income? Because what you got paid from Make Wellness is gross income, and what you got paid from your 9 to 5 job is net income. And those are two different things. So you probably actually didn't match that full-time job. And then if you only did it in May, I doubt you're going to do it the rest of the months. I'm worried about that woman who said she left her full-time job for Make Wellness this early. That makes me worried. Okay. And then the other thing is that nobody in your upline is qualified to talk to you about taxes. So you'd think your upline would tell you oh, you're going to have to pay taxes on this later, but they don't often even know. They don't really know anything about taxes. They don't know about write-offs. They'll tell you illegal things. They'll be like, you can write this off. You can write this off. And it's not actually accurate. If you did get audited, you might get in trouble because they're not a real business owner. They've never had a 1099 independent contractor position before. They've never had to do, taxes in a more complicated situation. They're not a real business owner, so they don't know all the things that business owners actually have to track. So that was the other thing that I wanted to add. That was my only note that I wanted to add. So, gosh, I did not intend for this video to be just another Just Amy video, but that's what happened because she was spewing a lot of nonsense very condescendingly, and it's just giving insecure, image obsessed, doesn't have a sense of who she is or identity post Beachbody, trying to figure that out and doing it extremely publicly, which is just girl, get off social media, get in therapy, get a job, take the pressure off making your whole personality a social media persona that is profitable. Because you deserve to just be a person, not a brand, not a money generating thing. You deserve to just be a person. So that's my nice thing that I have to say. And I want to, don't send any hate to Amy. Don't go to her page. I don't hate her. I don't feel any animosity towards her, even if I got upset at some of the things she said. I just think she's really lost. And I think she could benefit from stopping this constant need to generate income on social media and just going private for a while and reckoning with everything that's happened to her over the last couple years and figuring out who she is when that person doesn't have to be a character or a brand. So, which I think you can only find out who you really are and what you really like if you're not trying to monetize every part of your personality. So those are my thoughts on that. If you liked this video, please like it, subscribe if you want to see more from me. If you didn't like it, let me know why in the comments. And if you have a pet, kiss them on their soft little head for me and I'll see you in my next one. Okay, bye.
What does perfect even mean?